Welcome to Revenge Justice, where every wrong finds its payback. He called himself a technician, a humble operator of lights and sound, a man who made other people's spectacles look effortless. But the story that follows is not about humility. It is about leverage, patience, and the slow, clinical dismantling of a company worth more than most people would ever see in a lifetime. This is the story of a man who watched an empire rot, and then, bit by deliberate bit, set the match. He learned the rules of this world in studios and on sets. Somewhere between the glare of stage lights and the hum of projectors, he learned how to make a show look flawless when behind the curtain, chaos reigned. He learned to think 3 steps ahead, to prepare for failure as if it were certain, to have a backup for the backup. Those habits kept him alive in an industry where one missed cue could cost you everything. When he opened his own small video production company, the math was simple and brutal. Equipment cost money, real money. You cannot edit a frame or mix a single track without the gear. He spent more than he could afford. The company started in the red, and he took a job to survive. Not a desk job, not a suit. He went back to what he knew. The ballroom lights, the tangled cables, the tech table that either makes you look like a hero or a failure. The hotel was a thing of legend, a flagship sitting at the heart of a corporation that owned a string of palaces across the country. Think opulence, think scrutinized perfection, think a place where every event was a mirror held up to the parent company's face. He joined as an AV technician. Then, because he never missed a cue and he never panicked, within months he was lead tech. People learned his name. Executives, politicians, event planners. He was in rooms most people never entered. He moved like a ghost through corporate spaces. He earned trust. The AV work at that hotel had always been run by Alpha AV, a company with reach, reputation, and a 5-year foothold in every property of the parent corporation. Alpha AV became more than a vendor. They were family. Then Beta AV arrived, new, hungry, cheaper. In the corporate chessboard, they were a pawn that became a queen overnight. A multi-million-dollar contract flipped, and this technician, traded like an asset, was moved across the table. He kept his clients. He kept his skill. He kept his memory of how things had been done well. The new company, however, was not interested in quality. They wanted pockets filled. They wanted margins swollen. They wanted to do less, charge more, and disappear into the luxury of plausible deniability. They installed policies to hide corners cut. They moved technicians out of the office so customers never saw the men who actually built their spectacle. They stuffed cheaper equipment into rooms that had once housed the finest gear. They polished invoices and deglossed the ballrooms. Where once flowers and projection and flawless sound had been standard, now there were listless projectors, tired screens, and the faint, unmistakable smell of shortcuts. Clients noticed. The patrons who brought their multi-million-dollar events to the flagship hotel began to whisper that the product no longer matched the price. Loyalty frayed. The man who had become the lead technician fought the degradation quietly at first. He slipped clients the equipment he knew would make an event work. He used his authority and reputation to mitigate the damage. The sales director cut him off. "If they didn't pay for it," he said, "they don't get it." The man watched agreements and courtesies die on the floor. His name could not rescue what their contracts would not allow. It was slow, a poison in the water. Year by year, the bookings thinned. Repeat clients went elsewhere. The parent corporation's events, the ones once guaranteed to fill the hotel with revenue and prestige, began to leak away. The new director doubled down on arrogance. He scolded clients, he raised prices, he treated executives like he was performing charity by turning up the lights. He alienated the people whose opinions mattered most. The technicians felt it in their pay. Hours vanished. Their schedules became guesswork. 10 hours a week does not keep a car running. It does not keep rent paid. The man had watched his own business suffer while the company fattened its margins at the cost of every craftsperson's livelihood. He could have left. He should have left. But he didn't. He watched and waited. He had something else: knowledge. That is always the dangerous currency in the room. Years earlier, he'd worked for Alpha AV. He'd built relationships up and down the corporate ladder. He knew the calls, the names, the unspoken dependencies. He knew which executives preferred which technicians. He had friends from the old company who still had the ear of people at the parent corporation. He also knew an old truth. When a ship is sinking, the captain's noise grows louder. The new director had become loud. He had become careless. He had also made the one fatal error a bully always makes. He underestimated the quiet men in the wings. So the man made choices that would look like coincidence to the naive and like orchestration to the patient. He nudged, he tested, he slipped hints to old colleagues. He fed a rumor here and a fact there, couched implausible frustration about hours and pay. He encouraged job searches. He answered messages from technicians at other properties, urging them to say yes when recruiters called. He told them to apply and then to accept, and, crucials, to be ready to leave on short notice. It was not dishonorable. It was strategy. It was slow, deliberate attrition. He and the technicians he'd rallied began to line up options. Offers came in like summer storms. One by one, men took the next job. One by one, the ballast beneath Beta AV's feet disappeared. The man's message carried a particular cadence. Leave only when the timing is right. Not a moment sooner, not a day later than necessary. The week before the parent corporation's largest annual event, the one that kept the flagship's books in the black for the year, the technicians gave their 2 weeks. All of them, across the region, all at once. Beta AV woke the week of the giant event to a house without crew. The director panicked. The invoices were signed. The balls had to be dropped into their sockets, but no hands were there to catch them. The manager tried to hire a temp crew. The gigs were too complex. An army of contractors could not be marshaled fast enough. The flagship hotel faced a nightmare. Its main event, the one that had made the parent corporation look like an immovable colossus, was suddenly in jeopardy. The man, now at the other end of it, reflected in the cold way he always had. He had wanted restoration for the hotel's clients, for the technicians, for the craft. He had also wanted the new director to taste the ruin his policies produced. He had wanted, if he is honest even to himself, to feel the satisfaction of making a corrupt actor accountable. He had got it. The company he took down was not a fly-by-night. It was a multi-million-dollar entity folded back into the original firm. The spectacle was public, and it was clean. Revenge, in this instance, was mathematical. It was a chess match played over months and years, with small moves. One job application accepted here, one sympathetic executive called there, stacking into inevitability. It was not about anger unleashed in a moment of fury. It was the application of knowledge against arrogance. The man did not celebrate with champagne. He did not seek headlines. He did not dance on the grave. He allowed the business world to do what it does best: correct for incompetent risk. He walked away, in the end, without the gear that had once defined him. He walked away with debt settled later, slowly, years to rebuild. He walked away knowing that one rotten company had been removed and something stronger had taken its place. He carried with him the memory that justice often exacts a cost from those who pursue it, even when their motives are pure. He had struck a match under an empire and watched the embers fall. He had ensured the flames did not spread. He had done what needed doing. Moral of the story: pause and consider. Power corrupts easily when no one watches. Greed eats craft and reputation until there is nothing left but invoices and excuses. Knowledge is a weapon, not because it wounds, but because it reveals. If the system is broken and those in charge choose profit over people, then quiet, patient, lawful pressure science and rebuild it. Justice does not always come from the courts. Sometimes it arrives as a reordering, a market correction executed by those who know the weaknesses best. If this story taught anything, let it be this: courage is not always loud. Sometimes it is simply relentless. If you believe justice should be precise, If you want more true stories of cunning, consequence, and quiet retribution, subscribe to our channel. Like and subscribe for more stories where the wrongdoers get what they deserve.